The Earth is gradually heating up. Temperatures are rising. Ice is melting. Sea levels are increasing. The result is a world where several island nations are on the verge of disappearing from the map. A state is not just a territory. It represents history, culture, identity, and the collective dreams of its people. Yet in the 21st century, some countries face a harsh reality. Even their land is under threat. Just like the Roman Empire, the Soviet Union, or Yugoslavia, which once had a clear presence on maps but now belong to history. This story isn't just about politics. It's nature testing the survival of nations. Beyond the familiar tales of geopolitical shifts, a new crisis has emerged: climate change. In this context, many countries may not survive the next 50 years. Reports from the World Economic Forum and the Lowy Institute highlight that rising sea levels due to climate change pose an existential threat to low-lying countries, especially small island and coastal nations. These vulnerable countries now face environmental challenges like flooding, coastal erosion, the depletion of fresh water sources, and the gradual loss of habitable land. Such changes threaten not only the safety and livelihoods of their people, but also their unique culture and national sovereignty. Over the next 50 to 60 years, many of these nations may partially or completely sink into the sea. This scenario could result in the near extinction of an entire nation. Let's take a closer look at some of these countries. Maldives, sinking nation. The Maldives is one of the world's flattest countries. Its average height above sea level is about 1.5 meters, with its natural highest point only 2.4 meters. In comparison, Mount Everest stands at 8,848.86 meters, making the Maldives practically at the bottom of the planet's elevation scale. The country spans roughly 298 square kilometers, consisting of about 1,200 islands, and has a population of approximately 520,000. Rising sea levels are increasing coastal erosion, salinity, and flooding. To tackle future risks, the government is buying land abroad and constructing artificial islands as part of its adaptation strategy. Kiribati, fighting for survival. Kiribati is an island nation struggling to survive. Its average height above sea level is just 2 meters, with the highest point around 81 meters. Spread across 33 coral atolls in the Pacific Ocean, Kiribati covers roughly 811 square kilometers and has a population of about 135,000. Rising seas and salinity are severely affecting fresh water and agriculture. To prepare for potential relocation, the government has purchased 6,000 acres of land in Fiji. Tuvalu, one of the most vulnerable nations. Tuvalu is among the world's most climate-vulnerable countries. Its average elevation is less than 2 meters above sea level, composed of narrow coral islands with an average width of just 1.8 kilometers. Tuvalu is extremely prone to flooding and storm surges. Its agriculture, drinking water, and food security are under threat. Saline water is seeping into underground freshwater sources. The government has appealed for international support. Without urgent climate action, this nation may soon become uninhabitable. Marshall Islands, rising against the tide. Located in the central Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and Australia, the Marshall Islands have an average elevation of 2 meters. Comprised of 1,156 islands and smaller atolls, 80% of the capital Majuro's land could be submerged with just a 1-meter rise in sea levels. The government is focusing on building artificial islands and infrastructure to protect its people. With its low elevation, the Marshall Islands are at high risk of flooding and coastal erosion. Saltwater intrusion threatens freshwater sources, agriculture, and infrastructure. The Marshall Islands stand as a symbol of the fight against climate change. Seychelles, protecting paradise. Located about 1,500 kilometers off the eastern coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean, Seychelles is one of the world's premier luxury tourism destinations. Known for its wildlife, coral reefs, blue waters, and white sandy beaches, the country's economy could collapse if its natural beauty is lost. While Seychelles has higher islands, its coastal areas are still threatened by climate change. The nation's biodiversity and tourism industry are at risk. The government has initiated long-term adaptation projects with support from the World Bank, UNDP, and environmental organizations. Seychelles is more than a tourist destination. It is a reflection of a beautiful yet vulnerable world facing climate change. Fiji, island in peril. Located in the southwest Pacific, between Australia and Hawaii, Fiji consists of about 330 islands. High tides and cyclones are becoming more frequent. Many coastal villages face the threat of submersion. Agriculture and infrastructure are being damaged. Saltwater intrusion is destroying farmland and freshwater resources. The government, along with international organizations, is working to build climate resilience. Vanuatu, nature's fury. Situated in the southwest Pacific, between Fiji and New Caledonia, Vanuatu is a nation constantly battered by nature. Severe cyclones strike almost every year. Rising sea levels and natural disasters threaten survival. Repeated disasters make recovery difficult due to time and financial constraints. Its tourism sector is also affected. While Vanuatu is a paradise of nature, it is heading towards an unavoidable crisis. Maldives, Kiribati, or Vanuatu, they are not fictional scenarios. These islands are sending an early warning about the consequences of global warming. Standing just 1 to 2 meters above sea level, they show us who will be hit first by rising temperatures. Ironically, those who contributed the least to carbon emissions are now facing the gravest existential threat. The question is not just whether these islands will sink, it's whether we will take responsibility in time. Without reducing carbon emissions, strengthening international cooperation, and ensuring dignified relocation for vulnerable populations, the world risks losing not just land, but human history, culture, and rights. Stay safe and subscribe to stay connected.